Michigan State. Take a look at the up-to-date standings in the Big Ten Conference. Penn State and Nebraska both tied at 11-1, while Michigan State in fourth place at 9-3. Hello, everyone. Alongside former Wisconsin Badger Liz Tortorello-Nelson, I am Mike Wolf. And Liz, as we reach November, the chances to make noise in the Big Ten standings are dwindling for both of these teams. This match is key to the overall conference title race.
Well, they're looking at this big picture in front of them, and Michigan State needs to take care of business. They're not thinking too much into the future, but they really have to rely heavily on their senior group tonight and their offensive power.
Well, Penn State has got some power that's really emerged, and Hailey Thielen, as the year has gone on, she's really taken advantage of the opportunities that have been in front of her.
Well, great blocking here by Heidi Thielen, but she's really come a long way from the beginning of the season. I think she made some great adjustments at the Purdue match, hitting 14 kills that evening, and I think with that she gained a lot of confidence. On the other side of the net, we have Holly Tolliver. Not only can she serve strong, but she brings it all to the game. Great blocking, but her offensive prowess does a great job for Michigan State Spartans, so she's going to really need to step up tonight.
We mentioned the matchup earlier this season. Penn State has won the last 6 in this series, but the Spartans hoping to get a huge win at home and keep their Big Ten title hopes alive tonight. We'll have the first serve next on BTN. Lansing, where the Spartan fans are ready to go tonight for a top 10 showdown on BTN. Number 1 Penn State, number 9 Michigan State here in East Lansing. We're almost set to get underway as we take a look at the starting lineups tonight, brought to you by Tachikara. Penn State, the number 1 team in the land, running that 6-2. We will see 2 setters out there, Abby Dietering, Brianna Weiskircher. It allows them to get a lot of weapons up at the net, including their star in Haley Washington.
Well, they're going to find her no matter what, and the reason being is she ranked number 1 right now in hitting percentage in the nation. But what I'm most impressed is her low air ratio on that serving line. I think she's got like 15 aces, 16 airs, so only a -1 positive to negative ratio. Awesome.
Take a look at the starters for the Spartans, a senior-laden group with the exception of the libero, but Jamie Cox is a fiery freshman libero who knows the game well.
Well, how about that? Just inserting herself as a freshman with all these upperclassmen. It's hard to do, but she's got that energy. She's got that moxie to bring it to the table all night long. So it's going to be great for her to really stand out tonight.
Head coach for the Spartans, Kathy George, her 13th season, 6 consecutive appearances in the NCAA tournament. And, of course, over her 30 years as a head coach, she's been in the NCAA tournament 15 different times and looking like they'll be in a position to make the postseason again this year. Russ Rose, 7 national titles, 14-time Big Ten Coach of the Year, 39th season. The list of accolades go on, and he's hoping to get another Big Ten title for this Penn State squad, which the seniors have not won in their tenure in Happy Valley.
Can you believe that? And it is so commonplace for Penn State to win every year the Big Ten title and then obviously advance pretty far down and win a national championship. So this is a big deal right now, and every match matters to them.
3 years without a Big Ten title for Penn State. They had won 10 of 11 prior Big Ten championships. These freshmen, obviously, these seniors, when they were freshmen, won a national title, but not that Big Ten Conference crown. And we are underway in East Lansing. Haley Washington with the first swing for Penn State. Didn't get a lot on it. And the first kill goes to Cranda and the Spartans.
That sharp, deep, outside hitting attack by Brooke Cranda. And they're going to try to establish middle early with Haley Washington, but a nice flat tempo ball all the way out to the pin.
Dieterine starting things out for Penn State. She sets up Thielen. Nice roll shot out of the back row for Bailey. Then out of play on the attack error for Penn State. So Michigan State with the 2-0 lead.
Just a little slow going for Penn State. Little bit of energy in the middle of the court to release and get that ball up in the middle from the attack by Autumn Bailey.
2 attacks so far from Washington. We haven't seen the usual power from her, but there's some power from Thielen.
Yeah, right, cross court. Nice shot by Heidi Thielen off of 1 foot. She can do it all off of 2 feet. Former middle attacker. So she knows what she's doing on that right side of the court. She feels very comfortable on that pin.
Take a look at the last time these two teams met. Penn State opened the first set hitting 419. Then a reversal in the second set as Michigan State hit 452. Third set would be a 30-28 decision. And even though it was a 4-set win for Penn State, it was a battle the whole night. And there is the first kill for Washington.
Great job, Brianna Weiskircher. I'm keeping my eye on her on that serving line. Doing a great job. She takes Michigan State out of system. So you see right there, Brooke Cranda is not able to help out with the middle.
One-handed set and the kill for Garveling.
Huge for Rachel Menarek, too, to get that ball up in the air to find her friend, that former or fellow senior middle blocker, hitting high numbers, too, over 400 for the season.
Michigan State, the best serving team in the Big Ten Conference, coming in 12th in the nation in aces per set. That doesn't tell the whole story, but they are very difficult to deal with from that back line. Whistle on a net violation on the Spartans.
Well, the serving game is going to be real important for both sides of the net, taking them out of system so they can identify early where they need to put a double block.
Allie Franti, the senior out of Illinois, back to serve for Penn State. Bailey at the 10-foot line. Simone Lee cross court. Saw the opening, took advantage.
Wow, that was huge. You saw her whole body open up to the outside court. Here you see big transition play by Simone Lee and really showing her stuff, thumb up to thumb down to get that hard angle.
Long on the service error from Franti. You get a look at the 2 of the best blockers in the Big Ten Conference in Haley Washington and Alyssa Garveling.
Well, Alyssa Garveling's obviously very proud right there, showing her stuff. But reason being, I mean, she's getting it done in the front row.
Garveling, 102 blocks on the season. Washington, 114. You see that the only active Big Ten player with 1,000 kills and 500 blocks, just the 7th player in Penn State history to reach those 2 marks. With the swing, and that's what she does so well in that 6-2.
Well, the setter kill, and that's pretty fun for her, I'm sure, and she's been working on it all season long in that 6-2, but from Brianna Weiskircher, just putting in that sweet spot for her so she can find that seam and put the ball down.
Dieterich has been in double figures in kills twice this season. And here's that deceptive serve from Hallie Washington.
And this is kind of what I want to talk about, especially for Penn State scouting a team like Michigan State and their serving routes. So she's going to be super aggressive from that back line, but she's identifying who she needs to go after to disrupt their servicing pattern.
Goes after Autumn Bailey, and Michigan State is out of system. Bailey with the swing, but a net violation on Penn State. And we are tied at 6 apiece here in set 1.
And we'll get some of these net calls because there might be a little impatient up there. They have to wait a little longer, especially for somebody like Autumn Bailey who's got some hang time.
Dieterich with the off-speed and a nice side out by Penn State with Tolliver in that tough topspin jump serve.
That was really important for them to get out of that rotation. They know Tolliver is dangerous and lethal on that back line. So smart play by Abby Dieterich, just mixing up her shots.
Pump set goes over to Lee. The swing out of play. Was there a touch? There was not, and it's a point to Penn State.
And she's trying to hit the edges back there, trying to look for some high hands. Real important for Autumn Bailey as that outside hitter. When she's got double block in front of her, she's going to go after it.
Tompkins on the quick from Menarek.
And she's not going to get a lot of action up there unless it's a three-point pass. So that was a great pass, so they're able to run something right behind the setter.
You look at the numbers there, 12th in the nation. Bailey with 14 aces on the year. She's not in that group of 3 players in the top 5 in the Big Ten Conference in aces this season, but she can still take teams out of system. Good one-handed get there by Bailey in the back row. Penn State can't recover, and Michigan State taking advantage of an overpass.
And just being able to anticipate up at the net, hands up, ready to go for any of those overpass opportunities is huge.
He's back over after Cox couldn't dig the ball, and a solo stuff for Tompkins.
I like Tompkins up there right now, very energetic. Just a one-on-one opportunity. Tori Gorell, look at her. She's going straight in. So you would say, hey, it's an easy block to get, but those hands are over. She's being patient. And what's really important is she's pressing all the way down.
Tough serving from the Spartans, and they open up a 2-point advantage.
And this is how runs start from the serving line. Getting it going. Autumn Bailey from the left side of the court going, picking on Simone Lee. And that's what they're going to do all night long. They're going to try to stress her in the back row so she's able to not swing as high and hard in the front.
4-0 run is ended because there she swung high and hard and got the kill.
Except for that play, Mike. So that one, she's going to get down. So rare that you see Simone Lee making a mistake twice in a row.
The 1100th kill of Simone Lee's career for Penn State. Tompkins again, and that's been a good connection so far for the Spartans.
I'm keeping my eye on Jamie Cox and Rivero for Michigan State. She takes that ball out to her side and making sure it's perfect all the way through, and you see her celebrating in the end, and I'm sure her teammates gave her some kudos for that.
And how about the ace now from Megan Tompkins? She is not part of that normal crew of service aces, and she gets her 6th of the season.
That's right. I'm looking through my notes, and I don't see her name for the aces, so she's bringing it.
Time out of play, and a good decision to let it go. So, Liz, when you're a target of serve receive, and especially when you're an outside hitter and you're expected to do so much, how do you deal with that as a team? Obviously, we saw Penn State try to let another player take the ball instead of Simone Lee, but how do you adjust?
Well, right now, Simone Lee has been the target pretty much all year, and she's not going to make as many mistakes in a row. She just needs to be able to bounce back. She's going to take herself out of serve receive, or the coaching staff will do it for her. But she's tough enough, and she's got a lot of grit where she's going to come back and make it better the next play. And that's the thing in volleyball. You want to better the ball.
Joust at the net, but then goes over and out of play off the Spartans.
It was a tough ball for Michigan State to hold on to. The setter's up nice and high and tight, but that middle's got to come and greet her with that one-handed set.
It'll be Weiskircher to serve. Clips off the net. Dietering with the lefty swing, just got it inside the line.
That's perfect, and that's what you can do with that setter up there on the right side of the court. We don't see it often in the Big Ten at all. We have a setter delivering a ball to another setter, and she's a lefty, so it makes it look real easy for her to clip that right back corner.
A nice swing from Cranda on the right side, and you saw Weiskircher hit the tape a couple of times. Michigan State happy to get her off the service line.
Definitely, and it slowed down that ball so they're able to attack it from a passing standpoint. But I like that cut shot by Cranda, and Penn State needs to work on their off-blocker defense so they're ready next time.
Washington using the block for the kill.
And it's only Washington's second kill right now, so they're going to work hard on the passing department to get her that ball and get those numbers up.
There's Washington again. Cox uses her body to keep that off the floor. They go back to Washington, and if she gets a second chance, usually she terminates.
That's right, for sure. And kudos to Abby Dietering, because trying to fake out the middle blocker right there. You see Jamie Cox taking it with the body shot. But Haley Washington, that ball was tight, too, and she reached hard for that.
Spartans again out of system. Joust at the net. It's an easy one, won by Bailey. With the 15-14 lead, we've got a good one brewing here in East Lansing. Couple of players of the week in the Big Ten Conference reside with the Nittany Lions. Haley Washington offensively and defensively with the great stuffs against the Badgers. And then Kendall White, the libero for the Nittany Lions, making plays all over the floor.
Well, she's approaching 300 digs for this season as a sophomore. And just right there, you can see how fun it is to play with somebody like that, to just keep the ball up the court.
You get a look at some of the numbers from last week, and the 500th career block for Washington. She's only going to add to that total. And a bright future for Kendall White, who's just a sophomore in that libero spot. Here's Washington again.
If they keep their passing right up to target, they're going to find Washington every time.
Feels like the team might have been listening to you, Liz. You said a moment ago they need to pass better to get the ball to Washington, and she's had 3 consecutive kills in the last few points.
And it's really not that hard to understand the game of volleyball right now. It is a serve and pass game, and these two teams have to really step it up in both areas to get their middles involved.
Bailey has stepped up in this, her senior season, leading the Spartans in kills and digs. Get a look at her last kill.
Well, they're picking on her in serve receive, but she took care of business there, coming on the inside set and swiping it off down the line.
Look at Michigan State hitting 450 in this first set. But yet, Penn State hanging right with the Spartans. Diving effort by Gorell, but that's outside the antenna, and a point to Michigan State.
Great serving by Michigan State and really isolating pin players for Penn State. You can see middle blockers, Megan Tompkins just releasing to go all the way out for Lee.
White with a good get, comes back over on Michigan State's side. They go to Tolliver. Lee with the tip. Dumped over by Weiskircher, and a great decision by one of the 2 Penn State centers.
You know, it really was. I was watching her because she's delivering the ball. They're digging up. They're trying to transition. They're giving opportunities. But Michigan State's tough up there. They're making some good plays. So way to go. Catch them off guard. Force them to think about a back row setter.
Good first contact, but then the stuff block, a solo block for Lee.
Oh, that was huge. She just took one step over to her left. She identified who her hitter was, and really important for her to do that before the ball crosses the plane to the net. You watch her right here. She's noticing who her hitter is. It's a back row attack.
Just long of the line. Almost was going to be a point off the defense by Penn State.
Crazy attack. Holly Tolliver does a nice job on the right side right there as a lefty. Something that she's been doing all season. She's getting a lot of kills from the backcourt.
Lee well long of the line that time, and a couple of points in a row for Penn State. Back-to-back points for Michigan State.
Well, we see in this rotation, they're stacked left for Penn State. So they do have 3 attackers. But Tori Gorell is in the middle front. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come out of this timeout.
Hi.
Volleyball on BTN is brought to you by Tachikaro. We've got the ball, you bring the game. And brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right. Back in East Lansing, Haley Washington, 4 kills on 8 swings so far. When Penn State is in system, they can get her the ball.
They got to be in system, but they've done a nice job this year kind of stressing the fact that they can lead her out of system as well. They have 2 great setters, so even if they get pulled off to the 10-foot line, they're going to try to find her.
Washington coming off an effort against Illinois where she hit 769 with 10 kills. There's the off-speed from Lee. And Lee's been trying to find different ways to get the ball to find the floor. 3rd kill tonight for her.
Well, as an outside hitter, you're going to get some junk out there. So you're going to get some tight balls from the setter, maybe some sets on the 10-foot line. So it's up to you. You have to adjust to every set you get.
Put into the net on a service there, just the second of the match for Penn State. Liz, we talk about how experienced these two teams are, senior laden on both sides of the net, and when you get down to the end of these sets that are tight at 2018, sometimes 2020, you see those seniors and experience really come through and dictate things, and so what's going to be the difference here?
Well, that's why it's so exciting with these two teams. They're all about seniors. You see Heidi Thielen taking that big swing, and she's really stepped it up in the second part of the season. But you have this whole group of Michigan State, some redshirt seniors, some normal seniors that have not beaten a Penn State team since I believe it was 2013. So really important for them on their home court to find a way to win.
Great save there by Dietering, but Penn State did not get it over.
Around the 5-foot line, so you've got to be scrappy. If you're up there blocking, turn in transition, find the ball as fast as you can, and you've got to get low to be able to put that ball up in the air so somebody can take a swing.
Menard over to Tolliver. Chasing it down was White, but she couldn't get to it. And it's a 3-point lead for Michigan State.
Real solid defense by Michigan State. Autumn Bailey, I'm watching her. Her feet were solid and stopped when she delivered that ball. And Holly Tolliver, just a two-step and up to swing hard. She's got a cannon of an arm. And Coach George has said how proud she is of her to really come strong, 6 rotations, and really giving her all for this team.
Spartans with the 3-point lead here in the first set, trying to take the 1-0 lead. Coming up next, we've got the Land of Lincoln battle on the volleyball court. Northwestern Illinois continue our doubleheader right after we're done here. Big Ten volleyball presented by Tachikara right after the conclusion of our match. As we talk about the seniors for these two teams, the expectations were so high for both of them coming in. Penn State, the #1 overall recruiting class when these seniors were freshmen. And then you go back to the 2014 class for Michigan State. They were the #6 class, both hoping to make some serious noise in the postseason this year.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because we talk a lot about how these recruiting classes are ranked. And I think that's all great because a lot of these high school athletes, get the recognition. A lot of them are high school All-Americans. But it's a whole new ballgame when they enter into college. So high expectations for sure. I think they need to start off on a clean slate. They all have to earn their start and earn their role once they get into the college atmosphere. And let's face it, all these young women, they were all-stars. All of them were all-stars at one point. So they've got to battle it out during preseason to see who's going to shine through for the season altogether. But yes, high expectations, no doubt, both sides.
Fired up. She's been quiet so far tonight, but a key kill for Penn State, her second.
Boy, that was key to get out of the rotation. Simone Lee came up big with a nice pass all the way to the net, stressing that the middle attacker held it a little bit with Abby Dietering up there, so it gave Allie Franti a little bit of space to swing.
Spartans find Tolliver, and they're 2 points from taking the first.
How about a lefty being able to swing on both pins? And that's what Coach George had said to us, that they need to be able to execute on both pins tonight. And boy, they really are doing it in this first set.
Washington answers right back.
And this is the offensive power that both of these teams bring. And that's why they are ranked in the top 10 nationally, because how do you defend against something like that? You see Autumn Bailey reaching up with one hand. That's not going to do it against a Haley Washington.
Washington herself leading the nation in hitting percentage. Penn State as a team hitting .350, best mark in the nation as well. They need to put together a run here to come back at the conclusion of the first set. Lenny Pearson to serve. Menard. Spartans cannot get it over, and it's down to a 1-point lead.
And this is what we've got. The last time they matched up, I believe there was a set that was 30-28. So they're gonna grind it out in these last couple points.
22-19 lead turns into a 23-22 lead. We'll be back with the end of the first.
.com/game time.
1 point lead in the first set for Michigan State. Abby Dietering doing it all here so far, setting and attacking for the Nittany Lions.
Well, she started off strong right away, adding a couple kills in there, but she's delivering great sets to her teammates, especially in these last couple points. She's really reaching high, using her 6-foot frame to deliver a nice ball, offensively and defensively for Abby Dietering.
Brings us to our State Farm State of Success, the two-setter system, 6-2 that Penn State runs. This is not the typical traditional Penn State offense that you see, but it has worked this year with only one loss for the Nittany Lions.
How about that one loss on the season, and they've got a big target on their back.
And out of the timeout, Pierce comes through with an ace to tie it.
Well, here's that serving pattern we were discussing earlier, taking them out of system, really stressing that serve receive back there for Michigan State. Tough serve.
See, the first set could dictate the course of this match. Penn State on a 4-1 run. Whistle on a net violation, and Michigan State will have set point upcoming.
And that was an unfortunate, pure error by Penn State, giving Michigan State a little edge right now on that serving line with Jamie Cox.
Penn State goes to Washington. Spartans keep it off the floor. Another chance, though. This out to Lee. Oliver to end the set. Bailey out of play, and White with a great decision.
It was, and her feet were stopped. She knew exactly where she was on the court. And what separates her as a great libero is that she's able to determine court awareness.
Spartans wanted it. They don't get the call, though, and wasn't a decision by the official. They knew that it was out.
Great gutsy play to take that big swing, though, by Auburn.
We're playing the extra points here in the first set. Dietering to swing again. Off the block, Michigan State will have another chance. Set point number 2.
Against a double block, too. Holly Tolliver not afraid to swing right into the block. Here you see Simone Lee reaching out, but her body position was not in line towards the center of the court at point of contact.
So Tolliver back to serve. The last 4 Michigan State points have been Tolliver kills. See if she can get it done from the service line. Bailey off speed. Weiskircher diving. This will be a free ball for Michigan State to end the first set. They go to Bailey. Weiskircher set it over to an open spot in the corner.
Wow, great job by Brianna Weiskircher. Gutsy play by a setter just to get rid of that ball. But look at that dig by Kendall White. As much as we say Holly Tolliver is doing on the other side, look at Penn State's defense and digging that ball up.
Tompkins can't put it over, and now Penn State will have their first chance at a set point.
And this is where the experience really comes through for a team like Penn State in these situations.
It'll be a timeout for Michigan State. 26-25 Penn State. This was a 22-19 lead for Michigan State. Looked like they were going to be on their way to a first set win, but Penn State finding a way to turn it around. And you think back to even last week against Wisconsin. They were down big in that second set, found a way to come back. Nia Reed was a big part of that turnaround, but a team that's number one in the nation, they find a way to get it done in these kind of sets that go into extra points.
Well, I'd like to say that Penn State has been a little bit scrappy towards the end of this match, but the key thing is keeping the ball alive and giving their teammates an opportunity to swing and just kind of waiting around for the other team to make an error. Now, what's important to know is that Holly Tolliver has come around to the back court. So if they're going to find her, they're going to have to use her in a back row attack. And I'm not quite sure they want to do that with the defense that Penn State has right now.
Tonight, an all-new episode of Sports Light with Mike Hall returns. Mike sits down with Barry Alvarez, who breaks out a phenomenal Lou Holtz impersonation and explains his love for pitbull. Don't miss it tonight at 11 Eastern on BTN.
That should be interesting.
Do you have an impersonation you want to do right now, Liz?
Actually, I don't, but I know we're going to talk about Halloween coming up.
A pretty spot-on likeness we'll see of one of the coaches in just a moment when we get to a look back on Halloween. But out of this timeout, Penn State 26-25, Spartans trying to even this up again. Remember, the third set between these two teams, the first time they met, back on October 13th, was a 30-28 decision in favor of Penn State. Spartans are out-hitting the Nittany Lions, the best hitting team in the nation. It all comes down to who can make the plays here in extra points in the first set. Tolliver, solo stuff, and Penn State comes back to win the first, thanks to the block from Simone Lee.
Well, she identified her attacker as Holly Tolliver in the backcourt, so they decided to go back row, which I don't blame them at all. She's been on fire all night long, but awesome job by Penn State of pulling that one out.
Volleyball teams in the Halloween spirit as you get a look at the Spartans all dressed up by class, the seniors wearing some of the older apparel, and then you get a look at some of the good costumes. I gotta say, I believe that's Megan Tompkins in the phenomenal It costume. And how about Autumn Bailey stealing the shirt of Kathy George thanks to the help of her son to be able to get the spot-on Kathy George costume.
Oh, I love it. And I think that's what Kathy George wore the last time they played Penn State. So very clever. She gets points for that.
And we get a look at the side-by-side. It is the same shirt. Autumn Bailey pulling it off. That is spot on.
I love it. And that must have caused a huge ruckus in the gym when she showed up. I'm sure it was all good fun.
Still enjoying the remainders of the Halloween candy as we get set here for set 2. Penn State found a way to pull off the win in the first set despite being out-hit by the Spartans. Let's see how Michigan State responds here in set number 2.
Probably not a great way to start out for Penn State. Serving just a little wide for Brianna Weiskircher, who's really made some great progress in the serving department, serving aggressive in the last couple matches.
Washington took a bit off that swing, and that adds to her total 6 kills, hitting .417 on the match for Haley Washington. With the hammer, but White was able to keep that one alive. In the end, though, Granda puts it away. Still can't help but be surprised that Kendall White dug that ball.
And she had some momentum going from the last set, just making sure she's off her heels. And that's huge for all you defensive specialists, liberos out there watching. She makes sure she's balanced with her feet, but she's able to go forward with the ball. And sometimes takes the charge. It goes right into the chest.
How about Abby Dietering as a weapon attacking? 4 kills on 7 attacks for her tonight. We've known that she can do this throughout the season, but there are just times where she seems to be getting even better looks, and tonight has been one of them.
Definitely, and I think you have to feel it. You have to have a lot of confidence up there if you're a setter, and especially for her, she's not used to attacking, but she's got the green light from her coaches to be able to take those swings, and her teammates are trusting her with the ball.
We mentioned the Spartans need to adjust. One of the comments that Kathy George had for her team after the matches last week and the loss to Nebraska was that the team needed to take advantage of opportunities, as Gorell takes advantage of one right there. But Michigan State, in matches like the one they had against Nebraska, they just did not finish off some chances that they had, and they felt like they could have done things better, and they're hoping they're going to be able to do that the rest of the way tonight.
Yeah, how about it, especially against a team like Nebraska, where they have just as much experience as a Penn State team. So you can't lay off the pedal at all. You've got to make sure you stay clean the whole way.
Great get there by Lee to chase that one down at the bench, but Bailey terminating for Michigan State with authority.
I love that two-step by Autumn Bailey. And what separates her from other outside hitters is that she's able to explode and get that jump high off of 2 feet. And a lot of outside hitters will broad jump into their outside attack. So real interesting and exciting for Autumn Bailey to be able to get that energy and that force to pike up the ball and really swing away. And she's attacking in the middle of the court. I'm sure Kathy George is like, okay, how do we defend against a Heidi Thielen? Tolliver was in the middle of the court, so she saw the seam right there.
Look at the record for Michigan State against Penn State and Nebraska, and then against the rest of the Big Ten Conference. Spartans have played a very difficult Big Ten schedule so far, and they have that record at 9-3, but they've had a tough time against the 2 teams that are tied for the first spot in the Big Ten Conference, as has the rest of the conference as well. But that's what Michigan State is hoping to do, is to take that next step. And beating teams like Wisconsin and Minnesota, that's nothing to frown at. Those are great wins, but challenging when you play Penn State and Nebraska. And obviously they've played on the road, and now getting Nebraska and Penn State in a 6-day span at home.
Good response by Penn State off of that air by Allie Franti going into the net. It's a little sloppy here on both sides of the net to start this second set. And you do have have to regroup after an emotional win. That was a really tight set. You have to take a deep breath from both teams and kind of set yourself straight going into this next one.
Tompkins going after Franti. Washington, the block was there. Menarek went for her own attack, but Franti was ready and waiting.
She was anticipating any ball that would come up to the net. She's been real aggressive, just the tip and being right there from Menarek, who hasn't attacked at all for Michigan State and established herself as an offensive threat.
Lee out of the back row, and Tolliver couldn't handle it.
I'm sure she wants that one back, and just playing the ball kind of mid-level and not being able to use her platform. You use your hands like a beach move, Mike. You want to make sure you've got some legs to go with it so the ball gets up in the air.
Overpass, put away by Franti.
Good heads-up play by Allie Franti, and that results in a fast point opportunity for Penn State, and that's what serving can do, and this is how you want to get on that run. You want to get a 3-point run if you're Penn State back there from the serving line.
Good first contact this time by Michigan State, and it results in the side out with the kill from Cranda.
Look at that high point of contact for Cranda on the left side. She's got a very tall frame. I believe she's 6'5", so she's reaching pretty high there with a little kick at the end by Rachel Menarek. So she's got a high snap and able to go over the block.
Out of system play, and yet Penn State still has the point off the kill from Franti.
And that was a nice and pretty set by Brianna Weiskircher. I love how she's squaring up to the left side of the court on an out-of-system play. And teams will separate themselves because they're able to get a side out when the pass is not a three-point one.
Unlike Michigan State did not get a side out when they did not have a three-point pass.
Well, the set was, she got trapped. And you can't do that against a team like Penn State defensively. And if you do find yourself trapped, you got to make sure you tip it back into the block and pull it back up.
Penn State leading the match. They're up 10-7 in set number 2. Take a look at the Big Ten teams in the top 30 of the RPI, and it's littered with Big Ten teams, all looking to go to the postseason. You think that once again, the NCAA tournament could see 7, maybe 8 Big Ten teams, and all of them have a great argument as the serving has really been on point for Penn State in the second set. They're going to need to make some adjustments in serve-receive for Michigan State.
Michigan State just needs to make sure that they're getting squared up with their hips and getting their passing up in the air. They don't want to end with a 0-point pass. They want to make sure you give your team a chance. So get that ball up in the air so they can do something with it. And right there is a first ball side out, something that they're used to doing every day. Autumn Bailey giving Rachel Menarek a nice ball and finding Garveling, who we haven't talked about much at all tonight. She's one of those standout seniors that hit for a high percentage in the middle.
Off the tape and out of play. Just unfortunate if you're Michigan State. Usually that one will fall in. Aggressive serving you still expect to see from the Spartans. They know that if they're going to pull off this upset, they have to serve tough. It's the game plan for Penn State as well. And Washington back to serve. She's already got an ace tonight. That one is long.
No spin on that ball at all with that flat serve, that jump float. Hoping that somebody's going to take a swing at it. Just sails a little bit out of bounds.
Burrell on the quick set from Weiskircher.
2 kills for her right away in this set. That was really important for her to get involved.
Well, Liz, I believe you noted the last time we covered Penn State, there are less opportunities for Tori Gurrell in this 6-2, so when she gets those chances, she has to take advantage, and most of the time she does.
Well, in that rotation, too, when she's in the front court in the last set, you'll remember that's where Michigan State got their run. So she needs to be a threat up there. She needs to make sure that when she's getting the opportunity, she can put the ball away or do something with the ball.
Tolliver back to serve, and Spartans hoping to go on a run with Tolliver at the service line. Bailey to the open space.
Great transition dig opportunity for Michigan State with Tolliver right there delivering a perfect ball. So it gives their team another chance, a second opportunity for Autumn Bailey just to find that open court deep right back. Abby Dietering was scooting up there for that tip option. That line is way open.
Pump set goes to Lee, and just like that, we've seen the swing now. 3 in a row for Michigan State. They're back within 1.
Lee right now is hitting negative again for the match, and you know, if you're not doing something well right now for her offensively, she definitely has picked it up in the blocking department, ending with that huge block in the first set.
Phelan takes out Tolliver.
Oh, she's got a smile on her face, too. She knows, and I'm sure the tables have been turned before for Holly Tolliver. I'm sure she has given that same hit to somebody else. But look at Thielen getting the opportunity back there to put some heat on the ball, delivering a great kill. And Thielen right now has got 4 kills on the evening. No errors.
Thielen has been in double figures in 2 of the last 4 matches for Penn State. The only 2 this season. She has really come alive, and White laying out to get that ball. Franti with the swing. Bailey puts it down.
She's really seeing the defense. Autumn Bailey, she goes up, keeps the ball in front of her. There's a double block, 4 hands, but she finds that seam and really puts it in that hole.
Would you say that Autumn Bailey is playing like a coach on the floor? I mean, maybe dressing up as Coach George has allowed her to see the block a little bit better?
Well, right now she's getting some instruction from Kathy George. So, you know, she's coming out and they're able to discuss maybe things, you know, that she sees that's going to help her when she goes back into play.
Something about that shirt. It's just imbued with the confidence of a coach.
That's right. That's right.
Menarek at the 10-foot line. Tolliver out of the back row.
You see her on the middle there. Sometimes we see her from the right side. You know, as a lefty, that's not easy to do. Your comfort zone is on the right side of the court, but we've seen her hit from the left side pin in the front row and now out of the pipe in the back row.
Dietering goes back to Franti. Roll shot from Franti. Franti. And two diving Spartans couldn't get to it.
That was a real smart play by Allie Franti. I kept wondering when Penn State is going to realize that Megan Tompkins is back there playing defense, and she pulls up kind of like an outside or rotational defense, and there's just two defenders in the backcourt. So she slices it right down the middle.
7 kills now to lead Penn State for Franti, but there's Miranda off the block.
She catches Haley Washington on the way down. So as a middle blocker, if you don't time it correctly and you're on the way down, your hand slightly comes off the net, just like Haley Washington did.
Washington saw the opening.
I'm sure her teammates helped her with that too, or maybe even the bench, telling her what's open defensively. It is a total team effort to decide where to hit those shots. Way to identify, and Abby Munson is not there to deliver.
Last time we saw Franti serving, she served Penn State to a run to open up this lead that they've held on to for the majority of this second set. Lee. Washington
slices it back the other way, so she can hit cross court, but she can hit cross body too as a middle attacker. And Michigan State knows she's going to get her kills, and especially off of a free ball opportunity, you know, in a one-on-one opportunity for sure on the block, she's going to put that ball away.
How to play though on a service error.
Few errors this set for Penn State, and they're still managed to be up by a few points.
Look at the numbers in this set for both teams. Penn State hitting 565, Michigan State hitting 429, a combined 3 attack errors for both teams. Tough serve. Lee cannot keep it inside, but she is going to dispute it with the up official. Does not look like we're going to have a replay, but she thought that she got it inside the antenna.
You know, sometimes that up official has a different angle than the players. If you notice, he's looking down on the ball. Let's see what happens.
From that angle, it looks like it could have been that it did stay in.
And maybe he's looking at how the antenna moved, which shouldn't be the case. They need to definitely identify if the ball hit the antenna or not.
There's Simone Lee saying it did not, emphatically. Doesn't appear that the antenna is moving. We won't see the ball, but the antenna does not move as you would expect. But there is no challenge, and we play on. And Lee says, I'll take care of it myself this time.
Right, exactly. You know, it always comes back to haunt the other team, too, when they take a little break and she gets a little fired up. And she knows she needs to step up a little bit more offensively for her team. But I think in the last couple matches, I've seen Penn State come a long way. We talked about Heidi Thielen stepping up and delivering, especially maybe another pin hitter wasn't doing well. Nia Reed has come in and really contributed off the bench. So this is a team effort for sure by Penn State.
Dietering right into the Michigan State block. Gorell plays it back. And then Lee down the line. Great effort by Michigan State, but couldn't dig that ball up.
Oh, I saw Lainey Pierce come in and doing some good things. Another role player for Penn State back there. Getting the balls up, being ready to go in coverage. But look at this, probably talking to Lee, telling her what's open again.
But out of play, and again, we see that from time to time. Pierce did her job in the first set. Just had a service error, and still a 2-point lead. This was where we were in set 1. Michigan State had a 20-18 lead. Eventually would go up 22-19 and then fall in the first set 27-25. Dietering off the block and down.
She's getting a lot of success over there on that right side pin, maybe with her matchup with the blockers not fully together in that dynamic swing. She's got a couple holes to hit into.
Huge stuff for the Nittany Lions. We have not been talking much about blocks for either team, but here late in the second set, an absolutely vital block for Penn State. They're up 22-18 in the second set. Penn State closing in on a two-set lead, 22-18 lead, and the blocks have been great at the end of each set. Simone Lee with some solo stuffs, and then we saw a few more here at the end of the second set and allowing Penn State to earn the edge.
Well, if she's not doing well offensively with those numbers, definitely Simone Lee stepped it up with that block. But look at those four hands up there identifying their space and forcing Autumn Bailey to deliver the ball around them, and she went right into the belly of the block.
Out of system for the Spartans. Diving effort there by White, but it'll stay in, and great play by Tolliver.
And something that Kathy George had talked about, just executing those plays. I recall Holly Tolliver doing the same play against Nebraska and missing just wide. Now here, she finds the court and she's able to get that kill for her team.
It's a nice pass there by Franti. And Thielen gets the touch call. What a side out for Penn State.
That was huge, a first ball side out. And you can't take that for granted in this match because the serving is so tough. The passing has really struggled at times, but Heidi Thielen, she's got a lot of action over there on that right side pin. She's got a huge lane to work with.
Into the net and set point upcoming for the Nittany Lions. And the block again, ending the set. Penn State takes it 25-19. The #1 team in the nation with a 2-0 lead on the Spartans.
The blocking has really stepped up in just these last couple sets. Tori Garrell playing some good defense up there, taking away space, so Autumn Bailey has a hard time delivering the kill.
So Penn State again making the plays down the stretch of each set. Just when it got tight, Penn State went on a run. Both times it came back from the 22-19 deficit in set number 1 and held on to their lead in the second set. Penn State hitting 360, Michigan State hitting 273 in the first two sets. And we are joined now by Kathy George of the Michigan State Spartans. And Coach, your team is down 2 sets, but you've hit 273 as a team. What do you need to work on to improve for the third set to try to come back in this one?
Well, we're going to need to dig some balls. I mean, it was like early in the game, in game 2, and they were hit 8 kills, 10 attempts, and we've got to make sure we're playing some defense here so that we can give ourselves opportunities. Our passing broke down a bit as well, put us in a situation where our hitters are facing a pretty sizable block, and that's a big task for us to do. So we got to settle down that ball control, make sure we're doing a little bit better job that way, and also go back with a little serving pressure. We kind of laid off a little bit.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck in the rest of the match.
Thanks. Thank you.
Spartans have work to do to come back in this one. They're down by 2 sets, but they're at home in Jennison Fieldhouse. We'll come back with highlights and stats at the intermission when we return to East Lansing. In East Lansing, where Penn State, the #1 team in the nation, has a 2-0 lead over #9 Michigan State. Michael alongside Liz Tortorello-Nelson. And Liz, we saw this Penn State team and Michigan State play a tightly contested first 2 sets. The difference is Penn State made the plays down the stretch of each set.
Well, that's what champions can do, right? They turn it up a notch when you get to 20 points. And we saw that through their offensive power with a lot of good plays. But Haley Washington right now, Heidi Thielen, getting it done for Penn State.
Well, Washington did it with her attacking and with her defense. 8 kills, a block in there, hitting .467.
Well, both of those players like to come off 1 foot strong with great setting, too, by Brianna Weiskircher in front, finding her friend. She's getting a lot of opportunities up there, and I love watching her. Heidi.
Michigan State. Take a look at the up-to-date standings in the Big Ten Conference. Penn State and Nebraska both tied at 11-1, while Michigan State in 4th place at 9-3. Hello, everyone. Alongside with former Wisconsin Badger Liz Tortorello-Nelson. I am Mike Wolf. And Liz, as we reach November, the chances to make noise in the Big Ten standings are dwindling for both of these teams. This match is key to the overall conference title race.
Well, they're looking at this big picture in front of them, and Michigan State needs to take care of business. They're not thinking too much into the future, but they really have to rely heavily on their senior group tonight and their offensive power.
Well, Penn State has got some power that's really emerged in Hailey Thielen as the year has gone on. She's really taken advantage of the opportunities that have been in front of her.
Well, great blocking here by Heidi Thielen, but she's really come a long way from the beginning of the season. I think she made some great adjustments at the Purdue match, hitting 14 kills that evening, and I think with that she gained a lot of confidence. On the other side of the net, we have Holly Tolliver. Not only
Friday, field hockey takes main stage with the Big Ten tournament semifinals at 11 Eastern. Michigan and Northwestern square off. Then after that, Penn State and Maryland battle it out. Catch it all Friday, only on BTN. Joined now by Penn State Associate Head Coach Salima Rockwell. And Coach, your team up 2-0. You've got great balance, but Simone Lee, 6 kills, 6 errors. What do you need to get her on track?
Well, you know, I think for Simone, it's just being patient with her swing. Sometimes she'll try to take a big swing when she doesn't have it, and she just needs to be patient with the ball.
So, Coach, you were down a few points in that first set. What adjustments were you able to make in that first set and able to carry it over into the second set?
Well, you know, I think we started the set off kind of in the hole. We had 9 errors that first set, which is a little high for us and uncharacteristic of our team. So once we started settling down, not missing serves, not making silly errors, I think that's when we were able to close the gap a little bit. I liked our blocking adjustments as well. You know, they were running some different things behind, and it was tough for us to follow it at first, but then I think we got in a little bit of a rhythm blocking-wise, and that carried into our second set.
Thank you, Coach, so much for the time, and good luck the rest of the way.
And thank you, guys.
Penn State hit 533 in that second set. You look at the rest of the team, Simone Lee hitting 0, 519 for the rest of the squad. Penn State, their numbers, they hit 479 against Illinois in their win last weekend. They've been over 500 a couple of times this season. We know they're best in the nation in hitting percentage, and those numbers for Lee, that's not typical. She's been hitting so well on the left side throughout this year.
Well, think about the timing of the season right now. I mean, we passed the first half. They're on to the second half. A lot of times these teams are seeing each other for the second time. So they're making adjustments for somebody like a Simone Lee. I would say Michigan State's doing a good job with her offensively, but Simone Lee is picking it up in other areas for her team.
Well, she could not get to that ball, and that's exactly how you want to start the third set if you're Michigan State.
Great serving and just forcing Penn State to think, okay, who's going to pass this ball? It dropped down in between the lane right there, and Simone Lee needs to get that first step to the ball.
Is stuffed.
Again, another great serve because Michigan State was able to identify who the setter is going to set, and they just go ahead and take off. You'll see Alyssa Garveling just shade over to the right, so it only allows her a couple steps to get in and square away with her right side pin hitter.
Thielen, though, with the answer for Penn State. They've continued. It seems like it's almost been automatic for Thielen or Washington tonight.
Yeah, very automatic. So what does that tell you about maybe the left side pin right now for Michigan State? You know, their blocking numbers are not, you know, out of the roof here. They both block their outside hitters below 0.5 blocks per set. So if you just look at the stat sheet, you may go after that pin right from the start.
Only 3 team blocks for Michigan State. Liz, you and I were talking during the break about the numbers for the Spartans. Just one time during Big Ten play have they reached 10 team blocks. They are a talented physical team at the net, but have not had the defensive effort that you would expect when they have all of these options defensively.
I'm sure it's because, you know, they do work on it in practice, I'm sure. And it is surprising for being such a great serving team that blocking should come along with it. But we've noticed a couple blocks up here where serving is going to dictate better blocking because they can identify early who's going to hit on the other side of the net and give a solid block up there.
With the center dump.
Nice crafty move by the setter. And when you're backcourt, you cannot jump and set the ball over the net for a total attack. So she just did a mini jump and set the ball right in the donut there where nobody was.
Long bump set over to Francie. She beats the block and the back row defender.
Great outside attack, hitting line. She goes up, looks like she's going to hit cross court, but in the air, here you see her body going up and turning at the last second, tucking in that arm so she can hit that line shot.
Creates the overpass off the serve by Francie. Washington.
You just can't stop those at all. That's such a high snap, and usually that's around the 5-foot line. But a perfect pass by Jamie Cox on the dig, overpass, I'm sorry, and then Washington goes up really high against a one-on-one opportunity.
This time Michigan State in system, and they side out.
And getting Tolliver going is huge right now for Michigan State on that right side pin. She was quiet during that second set. They needed her to execute because they're going to give her the ball as many times as possible.
And they'll do the same for Simone Lee if you're Penn State.
I liked what Coach Rockwell said about her being patient. And you do. If you're the type of player, Simone Lee, she sees the ball and she just wants to give it her all every time. But you have to be a thinking outside hitter, and you have to really weigh your options up there. And she saw a huge court to hit into, and she attacked it.
Roll shot from Bailey. That did. Actually, there's going to be a double contact.
Bailey right there. That's what she's known for. She can deliver the big kill, but she sees the whole court. She's forcing Penn State to make those defensive decisions and going for the ball.
How about some credit to Michigan State on the way they've played some of these out-of-system balls. They've been finding a way to, as you said, Liz, better the ball and create points. Dieterich. Not much of a defense there by Michigan State on that swing.
They kind of all stopped in their tracks. Watch the ball just fly past their shoulders. Defensively right now, Michigan State is up. They're playing, an upwards defense where the back third of the court is open. So those line shots, they're attacking. Penn State's attacking the line.
Bailey off the block.
Nice tool by Autumn Bailey, and she's able to do that because she's getting the set that she needs. Sometimes I felt in the last two sets, the sets were a little all over the place, so the outside hitters were struggling. That was a perfect set for her to go after that block.
It's interesting talking with Kathy George about Bailey as she misses on that serve. Is that last year she came back from that ACL injury she suffered the year prior. She had a great year, played well, but she wasn't at 100%. Now she's fully confident in her knee, and she's had a fantastic season for the Spartans.
Well, think about her journey too, transfer, and she had to join this team. You said the highly touted, recruited team, that came in, so she had to kind of acclimate. And unfortunately getting that injury right away off of her first match. So look at her now. She's really doing a good job with that great dig there, keeping the ball alive.
Another good dig from Bailey. Great defense throughout this rally from Michigan State. Franti has had a few chances to end it, and she does. Tolliver upset with herself.
Just the ability to stay within the rally. And that's the difference, I think, right now between these two squads. A long rally, you want to win those long rallies. They often end up winning. You win the match if you were able to stay in those long rallies.
Miranda cross court. I feel like we haven't heard a lot from Cranda since early in this match, but she does have 7 kills, and that was her first air of the evening. Tough one for Menard. Good play there by Gurrell. To it. Overpass by the Spartans. Longest rally of the night. Cranda ends it.
That was huge for Michigan State to be able to finish in that long rally. Great defensive efforts on both sides. Allie Franti not able to put that overpass over. Nice shot by Cranda, just skimming the tips of the fingers of the middle blocker.
Could that be the momentum swing that Michigan State needs? They won't get that point, but still winning that long rally might give them a little bit of life here in the third.
Oh, that was huge, just to be able to stay in it. And they're going to carry that over, hopefully, into this next point.
The block.
She just might be this X factor for this set right now. She's got a heavy arm, but she's got the hot hand, so deliver the ball to Cranda.
Speed from Thielen. Bailey flies out of the back row. Great play by White. Ends another extended rally.
Anytime you can set set your middle in those long rallies to finish. You have to do it. So if you're getting those transition digs right up to the net, setters, set your middle so you can finish it.
And another quick set to the middle. Not an extended rally that time, but a nice first ball side out for Penn State.
Just a perfect pass. Definitely. Garvelink is ready, but she's reaching over, and that was against a double block there.
Almost a mirror image coming from Tolliver and Garvelink as they both came in. Out of play on a service error, and we're tied at 11 again. Russ Rose's team hitting .412 here in the third. Michigan State hitting .250. Looks like we might get a lift call. No, we'll get a whistle on a net violation on Michigan State.
And that set was tight. Really, Washington going around. You'll see she's going to tip it. And I'm looking at the body of Autumn Bailey skimming it on the bottom.
Garvelink coming through again. And the passing has picked up in the third set for Michigan State.
It sure has, and that's why you're able to run the middle. And Michigan State knows that the keys to their success is really, you know, distributing the offense, not only on the pins, but getting the middles involved.
Lee again. Bump set goes out to Bailey. Doesn't make it over the net.
She's trying to clip that zone 4 up there for a shot. She sees it. I just like how she takes those risks. She knows she's going to get another chance here.
So the decision to have Lainey Pierce come in. Now Washington, we've talked about how deadly she's been from the service line, but Pierce is a serving specialist. Maybe just Penn State seeing something out there and the coaching staff deciding to go with Lainey Pierce.
Well, they want somebody to dig the ball, too.
Blocked, though. The huge stuff for the Spartans.
How about Rachel Menard getting that ball out of the net? That was a tight pass. Well, look at this block right here on the left hand of Autumn Bailey. She does a nice job of moving laterally and getting those arms up and over. Really identifies Abby Dietering as a lefty and taking it in with her left hand.
Good first contact by Lee. And Lee goes over the block.
She delivers for sure, and that's a tough rotation right now because you have Gorell, you've got Lee, who's not doing so well offensively, and you had Abby Dietering. So who are you going to go to?
Tough serve from Dietering. 17th dig of the night for Kendall White. And that time, Michigan State, again, just not making the play. One that they probably should have had.
And their feet are moving on defense, not stopped, being able to deliver a ball, point of contact.
Volleyball on BTN is brought to you by Tachikara. We've got the ball, you bring the game. In East Lansing, the band hoping to see some fireworks here from Michigan State down the stretch of the third and pull off a comeback. They're down by 2 in the third set. They trail in the match 2-0. Number 1 Penn State trying to get out of the sweep on the road. Thielen can't make the play on that ball. Well, the Spartans get the point off the Penn State mistake.
That's a tough ball to swing for Thielen. Got to give her a little bit of space to work with. Even though they're tall, Mike, they still need some air between the net and the ball.
Lee out of play long again. 7th error of the night for Simone Lee.
That's a flat ball. You don't see a lot of topspin on it. She's getting up fast, and that arm is going up. She's trying to hit those blockers' hands. Trying to get a touch out of them.
So we get a challenge here for Penn State. See if Michigan State was in the net on that last attack. Hard to tell from here, but the net was already moving from the serve.
It was, and maybe it's one of those challenges, Mike, where Penn State might need a break. Simone Lee might need a break.
So it's a challenge that still goes Michigan State's way. They do not change the call. No net violation, and we are tied at 15. And sometimes, as you said, you get the opportunity to just use a little bit of strategy.
Yeah, you do. And the coaches, use it to talk to their players, talk about this next rotation. What are they going to do?
Franti comes out of the back row. Tompkins plays it. Crandall with the swing. White again is there. And Franti, somehow Michigan State didn't get to that ball.
We haven't talked much about Allie Franti at all, and I feel like she's a player that we're so used to talking about with Penn State, but doing a great job all the way around. Low air tonight, 10 kills, 1 error. And you see her back there hustling, always calling for a backward attack, especially on those out-of-system plays.
8th match this season in double figures. She really does it all for Penn State. Her overall kill number is not as high as they have been in the past, as Bailey puts some velocity on that swing. But Franti has had to develop that whole all-around game, does so many things well for Penn State, and she gets picked on and gets a lot of pressure from opponents.
A lot of pressure, and if you're the #1 team in the nation, you have that target on your back, especially those outside hitters.
Roll shot from Cranda.
Smart play by Cranda. She's swinging all night long, Mike, but this was her first opportunity to put a little bit of off speed on it. Not even a full approach, running up there with her arm nice and high. You can identify it, but Abby Dietering hesitated with her first step.
But she gets it right back.
So this is when coaches get real frustrated because it gets sloppy and it's not as fluid.
7 kills for Dietering, alongside 17 assists and 4 digs and a block. Michigan State out of system. Cranda down the line, but out of play.
She's doing some different stuff up there. You saw her hitting cross court most of the night. Penn State is trying to block her cross court and gives her a little line to work with, and she tries to take it, just misses it.
Another roll shot from Franti, but it's outside of the antenna.
Hard to tell, too, right? She goes up hard, was an off play, reaches up, sees the line open, tries to get it. That antenna gets in the way, Mike.
Even at 18, we've seen the separation for Penn State come at the end of the first and the second set. As Thielen goes off the top of the block. Well, it's Penn State who has made the plays down the stretch of each set. Can Michigan State make something happen here in the third?
Well, they're right here. This is right now. So this is the time. And you're looking at Autumn Bailey doing a great job this set, not only digging but attacking.
Good first contact on the serve from Weiskircher. They get the pass up to Garvinley.
And they did. It wasn't even a perfect pass all the way to the net. It was around the 5-foot line, and she found her friend, really leading her, doing a nice job. Set in the middle.
Overpass. Easy one for Garvinley, and the Spartans have the lead.
It all comes down to the serving, and it's a race to 5 right now. To those 5 points, real important. Michigan State, that's what they're going to focus on. Talking about the serving, but talking about what's available. You see the assistant coach, Kristen Kelsey, talking to Rachel Minarik, offensively showing her maybe the numbers, what's working for her team.
Autumn Bailey has been the leader for the Spartans in this third set. She's making great defensive plays as well as getting some kills out there for the Spartans, and they need her to have success if they're going to come back in this one.
I'm real impressed with Autumn Bailey because I think she's that all-around player, and she's got a lot of grit, and she's smart. So she finds open court. If you look at her shot chart, you see cross-court, line, you see a lot of tips, roll shots. She's all over the place. And when you're scouting somebody like Autumn Bailey, defensively, you have to be ready to go. And she stresses that defense out so much. So right now it's going to be important for her to really pick up her game in these next 5 points. But she needs that senior leadership. All those seniors need to pick it up.
Friday, catch the semifinals of the women's soccer tournament. The first semifinal between Penn State and Ohio State kicks off at 1 Eastern on BTN to go. Then the action continues from Westfield, Indiana with Northwestern and Wisconsin at 3:30 Eastern on BTN. We crown a Big Ten champion this weekend only on BTN. And look at those seniors for Michigan State. Seniors who you mentioned, Liz, have not defeated this Penn State team in their tenure. Now, there are a couple of redshirt seniors who were around in 2013, but the true seniors, the ones who came in as the number 6 overall class in the country, have not knocked off the Nittany Lions, and they're hoping to have a chance. Once again, the serve of McLean causing problems for Penn State.
Great serve by Michigan State. Forcing Penn State out of system, trying to do something with that ball.
Samantha McLean, the sophomore out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. She's not had an ace on the season, but those last 2 points were created off her serve. Penn State goes to Haley Washington. Tolliver.
You see Mia Reed back in the lineup, trying to add some hands against Tolliver on that left side pin, maybe give the outside hitter Simone Lee a break. Nice swing by Holly Tolliver.
It's a 4-0 run by Michigan State. The Spartans feeling it now. Remember, they did have a 22-19 lead in set number 1, and then Penn State came back to win the first set 27-25, but these two teams playing for the second time this season. Penn State 1-4 at home. They had the lead here early in the third set, but the balance for Michigan State has been phenomenal throughout the year, and we're really seeing it as the match has gone on tonight.
Well, look at the kills per set and offensive just power all the way around, both pin hitters, and you add a middle in there, so very lethal for any team to play against Michigan State. The serving, though, is really the story right now in these last couple points. If they can keep Penn State out of system and force the hand of them setting maybe, either Penn, either Nia Reed up there who came in for Ali Franti. And we have the right side as well. But they want to give the ball to Haley Washington for sure.
Now, if they have to go out to Nia Reed, you remember what she did last week against Wisconsin, where she had 8 kills in the second set, 11 on the match. So she's certainly capable, even though she checks in without having played the majority of this match. But Penn State just has to do a better job in serve-receive against McLean.
Think about how hard that is, Mike, to come off the bench and you haven't played it all until this point in the third set. And this is your time. This is your moment.
Spartans 3 points from sending us to a 4th set. Washington, McLean with the play in the back row. Set over by Minaric. Dietering with her swing. Spartans ready for it. Here is Reed, and she does terminate.
I'm waiting for Nia Reed to get that set, because that block is not used to her. They don't know what kind of swing she's going to deliver. It's right through the middle, deep edge of the court, exactly where you need to put that ball. High snap by Nia Reed.
Franti goes after Bailey. Punch to the back line, and it's out of play. Just like that, it's a 1-point lead. Franti. Short serve, Minaric with the tough set. Just sent over by Weiskircher. Dietering with the tip. Simone Lee, the big swing. Another chance for Lee, and once again, she finds the elbow or the shoulder of a Spartan.
She sure did, and I think that defense is standing straight up on the other side of the net. But great blocking over there. They're setting up a solid block, but right now Lee is just strong, especially the second time around. First time around, she's hitting low. Second time, she's swinging high and looking for those hands. Now that is a smart outside hitter.
3-0 run by Penn State. Lee now with 10 kills, 7 attack errors, so she's improving that number. We talked all about the balance of Michigan State. Everyone knows the balance of this Penn State team, and especially when you run the 6-2 with all the options they have at the net. 5 different players with 7 kills or more. And how about Heidi Thielen? 7 kills on 16 swings with 0 errors. And Dietering has 7 kills as well. Really what you expect from this Penn State squad under Russ Rose. All of the weapons that they have, all the experience that they have, and they continue to find a way to get it done at the end of sets.
So what now? The score is tied. It's a race. We got 3-point game right here. Michigan State discussing their next option. And they've got a lot of guns. A lot of people have been coming through for them in this set.
Abby Dietering having a conversation with Salima Rockwell. And Simone Lee, we saw that she had 6 kills, 6 errors at the intermission, but she's really got it going here in the third.
Well, she's making the adjustments that she needs, and it's not easy to be Simone Lee. She gets picked on in the serve receive. She's expected to get the job done on the left side pin all the time. So when she's not, banging away and getting 20 kills a night, everyone thinks, oh my gosh, Penn State's going down the tubes. But that is why they have so many hitters out there, and that is why they're the #1 team in the nation, because they have that depth and they're able to move the ball around.
Race to 3 points. Tolliver will have the first chance for Michigan State.
I love that set. It just gives her space to swing, in that big, strong lefty, those long arms, and she's able to contact at a high point and swing all the way through. You see her finishing her swing before she lands, and that's really important.
Weiskircher has to come off the net. Simone Lee still finds a way to get the job done.
Same thing. She's got the space she needs to deliver a good ball. Against a tough block like Michigan State, you got those long arms in front of you. It could stress you out. So you want to make sure you're back behind the ball, can see the whole court in front of you.
Well, we headed to extra points again. We went extras in the first set. Here in the third, set point upcoming for Michigan State.
Of course, it's Autumn Bailey again. Finds a way to get it done. Big spike approach. Nice backswing. That deep corner is open.
And just who Michigan State wants back to serve, Tolliver. Weisgercher to Lee. And we go to extra points, tied at 24. Seeing the fire from Simone Lee.
Well, I was looking at that dig, too, on the other side of the net, just making sure they deliver a solid ball to the setter so Simone Lee has a chance.
Tompkins off the block and down.
Against a one-on-one as Simone Lee, Tori Gorell went the other way. So good job by Rachel Minarik to create that opportunity for Tompkins.
Michigan State 0 for 3 so far this match on set point. They had a couple in the first set. This is their second here in the third. It'll be Bailey to serve. Dietering goes back to Lee. And once again, Lee clutch.
You said it, Mike. It is a clutch, and she's just picking up speed. And here we are at the end of the third set. She's still got a lot of gas in that tank.
12 kills now for Lee. She will serve for Penn State. Cranda off the block. Another set point upcoming.
This is just side-out volleyball right now. Who can take the team out of their offensive strategy on that serving line?
It's Tompkins who does take Penn State out, and Franti doesn't get it over the net. We are headed to the fourth set. Michigan State made the plays down the stretch, and we will go to set 4 when we return. Michigan State on the brink of losing this match in straight sets. Got it done at the end of the third and won it 27-25. We will play into the fourth set. Number 9, Michigan State against number 1, Penn State. These two teams played a 4-setter in their first meeting. The Spartans are hoping to carry over the success they had in the third set into the fourth. We'll see if they can keep it up with the play. Bailey, Cranda, great defensive effort. Going to try to get it done here in the fourth and force a decisive fifth set. They'll have to be concerned, though, if you're Michigan State with the way Simone Lee was starting to play at the end of the third. She was dominating anytime she got a chance. Penn State could not get the ball to her at the end of the third set. She had 3 or 4 kills in the last few points, and they were powerful.
Yeah, the problem that Penn State ran into is that she got rotated out. So Ali Franti got to the front row, and they weren't able to find Simone Lee on the left side, but she was definitely on fire towards the end of that set.
Saw the numbers, the difference between the first 2 sets and the third for Simone Lee. Cranda, Lee pops that ball up. Franti will have the first kill of the fourth.
And Tolliver's up there on rotational defense, so Autumn Bailey needs to slide over to the line. Didn't quite get there all the way. It was a nice shot by Ali Franti. Way to respond after unfortunate play by her in the last set.
Cranda with the tip. Deanery in the swing. Does a great job of knowing when the defense is out of position and when to take that attack.
Well, how about it? It's fast. So everyone in Michigan State, look at, they're all up at the 10-foot line. So it was very smart play by Abby Dietering to push them back deep.
Washington, a 3-0 start for the Nittany Lions.
Great job getting that ball right up to the setter so they can get Haley Washington into the groove, and does a nice step cross-body shot against Garvelink right there, finding the court.
Just a bump set there, and into the block, straight down. And that will result in a timeout by Michigan State. Huge block by Haley Washington. Start to start the fourth set for Penn State. It really has been the offense for the Nittany Lions. Michigan State has been passing well until now. Menard's brought off the net. Washington comes behind, and the off-speed connects.
And Jamie Cox got caught all the way down the line. She's ready for that big kill by Haley Washington. Hard to get that first step, that motor going to get that tip up.
Just what Michigan State had to have as Garvelink is able to come through with a key kill.
I love the adjustment by Alyssa Garvelink over on the right side. The set wasn't exactly where she wanted. It was nice to see her first step to the ball and then take a full approach.
A great pass, and then what a great defensive effort there by Michigan State on the swing from Washington. Second chance, Washington comes through.
Oh, I love the push set right there to Haley Washington. Brianna Weiskircher taking a risk. It's not a perfect pass, so look at her push right into that hole and finds a way. It was a great set by Brianna.
14 kills, hitting .542 for Washington. Big swing from Tolliver, great dig by White. And then a whistle against Penn State and Weiskircher on a double contact.
You know, sometimes you just got to work really hard to get your feet there and those hands up high.
Almost identical numbers for Haley Washington now in her 2 matches this season against Michigan State. 14 kills in each. She's still got more left to do in this match, but impressive performance by her. Joust at the net comes down on Michigan State's side. Lee goes off the block and it ricochets right into the net.
It does, and I saw Alyssa Garvelink kind of turn off the net a little bit too early. You see she's not even on when she's making that dynamic move, and she gets faked out right there by Abby Dietering and gets her first step there too late.
Doesn't make it over, and Michigan State in some trouble here with Penn State up 8-2.
How about the runs right now? And it's something to do with creating opportunities. Penn State is creating those opportunities on the serving line, but they're also passing so much better, so they're able to get Haley Washington involved.
To serve from Washington, Bailey. That's going to be a difficult one for Haley Washington to dig up.
It's coming right at her face with a lot of heat. Autumn Bailey sees her back there, forces her to play some defense.
Dieter in the swing. Cox with the up. Just ping-ponging back and forth, and then Lee off the block and ends the rally.
We're seeing a lot of scrappy plays by both teams right now. Getting the ball up, just keeping it alive. Great effort out there by McLean to dive out for that ball, but in the end, she wasn't able to get a second contact on it, and that's why Penn State's able to make those runs. They're finishing some of those big plays.
Simone Lee just making plays. We talked about her slow start, but she's gotten it going and had some great blocks tonight as well.
I love how she hangs up there for the longest time, too. And she may not be lined up correctly, but she's trusting herself, keeping her hands over and pressed until she comes down on the court.
Service error from Penn State. 15 kills, now over 200 for Lee. Remember, 6 kills, 6 errors at the intermission. Michigan State hoping they can get the serve going here from Tolliver. Want a run of their own. Tori Gorell with the first ball side out.
And she's able to get those kills because they don't expect her to get the ball at all. Michigan State not aware of her, probably not committing on her. They start to lean more towards the pin. So Tori Gorell needs to sneak in those kills when she gets the chance to do it.
Keaton Holcomb to sub in for Penn State to serve. Service errors so far have given Michigan State some opportunities here in the fourth, a couple of their points. You can't just count only on the Penn State mistakes if you're Michigan State to help this comeback. However, an overpass, and that's one that Tompkins and Michigan State had to have.
You said it right there. You want to be able to earn your points no matter who you're playing against. But look at that. Megan Tompkins had an opportunity for a fast point and rewarding her server.
Out of play, though. I believe that's 3 service errors in this set alone. 10 service errors for the match for Penn State.
And that does not happen. And I'm sure Russ Rose gets up. It takes a lot for him to get up and really talk to his players, so you know he's not happy with that performance.
Washington. I don't know how you defend that.
It's a low set, too, when she's up there super fast. Look at her first step, jab in, acts like she's going in for a 31, and then comes in quick. Really a textbook spike approach. So great for all those young players to watch somebody like Haley Washington.
Bailey, the off speed works. Liz, we started the broadcast tonight talking about how important this match is for both teams as Penn State tied atop the Big Ten standings with Nebraska. Michigan State in fourth place at 9-3 is another mistake by Penn State. Michigan State not out of this fourth set now. When you think about it, as you look down the stretch of the Big Ten season, both of these teams have very few opportunities against the other contenders at the top of the standings. As you get a look at the standings currently, Michigan State only plays one more ranked team after tonight, and that is Purdue, while Penn State plays 2 more. And their last 2 are against Wisconsin and Minnesota, but not Nebraska. Only one match this year between Penn State and Nebraska won it in straight sets in Happy Valley. So when you just think about the conference title race, the unbalanced schedule results in some of these early matches in the second half playing a big part in deciding who wins the conference.
I mean, out of all the years that we've been doing this, Mike, and you definitely longer than me, I think this is a year that stands out about the disruptive schedule. And I know the coaches have talked to us about it, but it really is evident. You think about Nebraska's last, matches coming up, and they definitely have to show up, and they've got to do a good job and take care of business. But you're right, they're not playing anybody ranked. Really what everyone's got their eye on is that last match between Penn State and Minnesota.
The only thing that would be sad is if it's already decided, the conference title may be decided by that point.
It could be. Here we go. We're watching a Michigan State team really putting some pressure on Penn State.
4-0 run by the Spartans. Keeps it going, down by 2 now.
And not even an approach at all by Brooke Granda. 6'5". She does that 2-step. Look at her just get up and whip that ball with a lot of top spin going after the block.
And a timeout now for Penn State. Michigan State putting together a run. 5-0 scoring run. They're down by 2. This was a 13-6 lead for Penn State in the fourth. Michigan State on a 5-0 run. And Penn State talking things over as Spartans right back in it. It looked like Penn State, having jumped all over the Spartans to start this fourth, might be on their way to winning the match. But Michigan State and their experienced seniors, not phased. They've been through this before. Kathy George says anytime they run into anything in a match, they know they've dealt with this kind of thing and been able to figure it out in the past.
Well, they have each other's back for sure. They've been through a lot together, and they know what works.
A short serve. Fortunate Penn State to even send this one over. But in the end, Tolliver puts it down, and it's a 1-point lead.
Huge get by Tolliver, but her whole team effort. Look at that set, a nice inside set. She totally passes up the block there.
And Penn State once again cannot get the ball to their center. Franti doesn't keep it in, and we're tied.
Now they are earning their points right here. Even though Allie Franti hit that ball out, they created that opportunity with a solid block, forced her to hit deep.
7-0 run for Michigan State. They can still keep it going. And they do. It's an 8-0 run, and Michigan State on top.
Great scrappy play, defensive efforts by Jamie Cox to keep that ball. She sprawls out in front of her, making sure her wrists are on the ground, popping the ball up so her teammate can get the second contact.
Northwestern Illinois match coming up right after the conclusion of our match, and Haley Washington finally ends the run, and she tries to calm her team down.
Look at this great up, not only by Rachel Menard taking it in the chest, but Jamie Cox getting the ball up. And to follow up, we have Haley Washington, one-on-one opportunity. It was a first ball side out, a 3-point pass, signature kill by Haley Washington.
Simone Lee. Second chance for Lee, and she catches a piece of the block, and it goes down.
She does. She reached high, nice high snap. And I was looking at Jamie Cox back there. Her feet were stopped. She was ready to go. If you see her in that back corner, a little bit wide, not able to take that first step. But boy, defensively, it is so hard to get those digs against a Simone Lee.
Good first contact for Michigan State. Branda, the block was there for the Nittany Lions. Bailey with a run out of the back row. Washington has to stop. Block ready for it for the Spartans. Roll shot from Lee. Crucial rally here. Bailey gets to it. Spartans will try to get it over. They can't. And Penn State wins a long rally in the fourth.
They sure do. And they just simply outlast teams. Not only because of their physical aggressiveness in the front row, but defensively, they were able to add so many great plays back there.
They get a live look in at Northwestern and Illinois in set one in Champaign and Huff Hall. We will get you to Huff Hall as soon as our match concludes. Penn State and Michigan State in the fourth set. Spartans down by 2. They went on an 8-0 run. Came back and took the lead after Penn State was leading 13-6 in the fourth. But Penn State just won an extended rally. The first time the Nittany Lions came through to win one of the longer rallies that we've seen tonight. And they're hoping to use that to carry them here in the fourth, with Lainey Pierce still serving. one for Monarch. And a whistle as it didn't make it over the net.
He's saying 4 contacts. I'm watching their rotation 1 right now for Michigan State. Their setter is pulled all the way up to the net with Cranda. She's got 3 opportunities, 3 hitters to go to.
And the serve brings Monarch off the net. Weiskircher goes to Dietering.
That was a big-time point for the setter, Abby Dietering, taking it on the right side, going sharp angle and deep. Autumn Bailey is stuck up there defensively in the middle of the court. The ball just goes right past her.
5-0 run by Penn State after the 8-0 run by Michigan State. We always say it's a game of runs, and it's proving to be the case.
It sure is, and it really determines, everything is determined upon the passing for these 2 squads, and getting Garvelink involved is really important against a one-on-one opportunity. And just slices that ball past Washington.
9 kills for Garvelink, 3 Spartans in double figures, with Cranda and Tolliver both having 13. Bounces that one, and Michigan State back within 2.
And that was a fast tempo offense. You saw Autumn Bailey get off the net. Her first step is right as the setter is delivering. You'll see her in motion, and that's why that seam opportunity is there for her, and she takes it.
Bailey again.
They're going to keep feeding her that ball because she is so quick, and Penn State is not adjusted to the speed out there on that pin.
8-0 run by Michigan State, 5-0 run by Penn State, 3-0 run by the Spartans now. And you're going to look at the double-doubles. Washington cross court, that will be in. She'll head back to serve. 17 kills now for Washington. 3 off of a career high for Haley Washington tonight. Bailey goes after her.
I'm real surprised that Tori Gurrell did not shade over to Autumn Bailey. You'll see her, she did, but you know what? She bit it with Alyssa Garvelink and hung with her, and I'm sure, she's frustrated with herself that she didn't go all the way.
Good get by White. And that bounces off the face of Tolliver as Monarch laid out for it. But Kendall White needed to get that dig for Penn State as Bailey had been continued to really carry the Spartans.
Well, that's why she's the defensive player of the week, and she's got to be able to go the distance for sure. She's a sophomore, but she's added so much life to this program, brought a lot of energy, and she brings it every day to practice.
Bit of a tough night for Holly Tolliver. I believe she took a swing from Haley Washington off the head, and then she gets another one to the face, and the trainer's going to take a look and have a conversation with Tolliver.
An aggressive sport, and when you're playing back there on defense, you really put a lot of faith into the blockers in front of you to make sure that they're protecting the court up there with their hands. But defensively, you've got to be aware. You've got to be able to throw up your hands and protect your face whenever you need to.
Tolliver appears to be okay, and she will hang in there. And Kathy George and the Spartan bench trying to root on their teammates here, down by 2 in the 4th, trying to hang in and set up a decisive 5th set. Good get there by Simone Lee. Thielen. And Tolliver comes through with the kill.
Nice response by Holly Tolliver, and I love the tempo right now of Michigan State. They are deliberately speeding it up. If you notice, Samantha McLean is just bringing that ball right to the net. The setter's getting up there, and it is so fast. Penn State is not able to adjust.
Levo off off a nice first contact from Allie Frantic.
Great first contact, perfect set for somebody like Simone Lee with just enough kick at the end to extend her reach, and she swings away. And I love how her follow through goes up to the right side and crosses over to her left side hip.
There's Bailey. White is there again. Free ball chance for Penn State. Dietering directing traffic. She goes to Franti. The back corner is hers.
Look at this dig by Kendall White, and almost just bypasses Allie Franti. But Allie Franti is finding that zone 5 back there in that deep corner where nobody is.
Service there, though, and the Spartans just down by 2. Look at the numbers for Kendall White. 28 digs for her tonight. You have to give a lot of credit to her as to why Penn State was able to win some of the close sets, or at least the first close set, and even in set 2. But she has had a great night, but a long service error that time by Bailey.
Just trading errors right now towards the end, and this is when you want teams to clean it up and be real sharp.
And it will be White to serve. A defensive player of the week, having herself one of the best nights of the season. Another dig for White. The block for Penn State sets up match point.
That was a nice adjustment by Heidi Thielen. You know, Cranda had their number for quite some time, getting all those kills right in the middle of the set. But Heidi Thielen adjusted and really pressed her hands into the court.
Great swing, though, from Autumn Bailey.
And they're finding her no matter where she is on the court. She's the go-to tonight. Very solid.
8th double-double of the season for Autumn Bailey. 16 kills and 14 digs. Washington, though, will end it, and Penn State wins it in 4 sets on the road in East Lansing. Haley Washington and Simone Lee both with 18 kills on the night. And the number 1 team in the nation remains tied atop the Big Ten standings. Good response by Penn State after they struggled in the midway point of the 4th set. That 8-0 run by Michigan State, a 5-0 run by the Nittany Lions, and in the end, they were able to close it out.
Well, I think those runs helped them. You know, some would say it was a sloppy match because of the huge runs, but that's what they're used to, and they were able to respond.
Michigan State. Take a look at the up-to-date standings in the Big Ten Conference. Penn State and Nebraska both tied at 11-1, while Michigan State in 4th place at 9-3. Hello, everyone. Alongside former Wisconsin Badger Liz Tortorello-Nelson, I am Mike Wolf. And Liz, as we reach November, the chances to make noise in the Big Ten standings are dwindling for both of these teams. This match is key to the overall conference title race.
Well, they're looking at this big picture in front of them, and Michigan State needs to take care of business. They're not thinking too much into the future, but they really have to rely heavily on their senior group tonight and their offensive power.
Well, Penn State has got some power that's really emerged in Heidi Thielen as the year has gone on. She's really taken advantage of the opportunities that have been in front of her.
Well, great blocking here by Heidi Thielen, but she's really come a long way from the beginning of the season. I think she made some great adjustments at the Purdue match, hitting 14 kills that evening, and I think with that she gained a lot of confidence. On the other side of the net, we have Holly Tolliver. Not only can she serve strong, but she brings it all to the game. Great blocking, but her offensive prowess does a great job for Michigan State Spartans, so she's going to really need to step up tonight.
We mentioned the matchup earlier this season. Penn State has won the last 6 in this series, but the Spartans hoping to get a huge win at home and keep their Big Ten title hopes alive tonight. We'll have the first serve next on BTN. Lansing, where the Spartan fans are ready to go tonight for a top 10 showdown on BTN. Number 1 Penn State, number 9 Michigan State here in East Lansing. We're almost set to get underway as we take a look at the starting lineups tonight, brought to you by Tachikara. Penn State, the number 1 team in the land, running that 6-2. We will see 2 setters out there, Abby Dietering, Brianna Weiskircher. It allows them to get a lot of weapons up at the net, including their star in Haley Washington.
Well, they're going to find her no matter what, and the reason being is she ranked number 1 right now in hitting percentage in the nation. But what I'm most impressed is her low air ratio on that serving line. I think she's got like 15 aces, 16 airs, so only a -1 positive to negative ratio. Awesome.
Take a look at the starters for the Spartans, a senior-laden group with the exception of the libero, but Jamie Cox is a fiery freshman libero who knows the game well.
Well, how about that? Just inserting herself as a freshman with all these upperclassmen. It's hard to do, but she's got that energy. She's got that moxie to bring it to the table all night long. So it's going to be great for her to really stand out tonight.
Head coach for the Spartans, Kathy George, her 13th season, 6 consecutive appearances in the NCAA tournament, and of course, over her 30 years as a head coach, she's been in the NCAA tournament 15 different times, and looking like they'll be in a position to make the postseason again this year. Russ Rose, 7 national titles, 14-time Big Ten Coach of the Year, 39th season. The list of accolades go on, and he's hoping to get another Big Ten title for this Penn State squad, which the seniors have not won in their tenure in Happy Valley.
Can you believe that? And it is so commonplace for Penn State to win every year the Big Ten title and then obviously advance pretty far down and win a national championship. So this is a big deal right now, and every match matters to them.
3 years without a Big Ten title for Penn State. They had won 10 of 11 prior Big Ten championships. These freshmen, obviously, these seniors, when they were freshmen, won a national title, but not that Big Ten Conference crown. And we are underway in East Lansing. Haley Washington with the first swing for Penn State. Didn't get a lot on it. And the first kill goes to Cranda and the Spartans.
That sharp, deep, outside hitting attack by Brooke Cranda. And they're going to try to establish middle early with Haley Washington, but a nice flat tempo ball all the way out to the pin.
Dietering starting things out for Penn State. She sets up Thielen. Nice roll shot out of the back row for Bailey. Then out of play on the attack error for Penn State. So Michigan State with the 2-0 lead.
Just a little slow going for Penn State. Little bit of energy in the middle of the court to release and get that ball up in the middle from the attack by Autumn Bailey.
2 attacks so far from Washington. We haven't seen the usual power from her, but there's some power from Thielen.
Yeah, right, cross court. Nice shot by Heidi Thielen off of 1 foot. She can do it all off of 2 feet. Former middle attacker. So she knows what she's doing on that right side of the court. She feels very comfortable on that pin.
Take a look at the last time these 2 teams met. Penn State opened the first set hitting 419. Then a reversal in the second set as Michigan State hit 452. Third set would be a 30-28 decision. And even though it was a 4-set win for Penn State, it was a battle the whole night. And there is the first kill for Washington.
Great job, Brianna Weiskircher. I'm keeping my eye on her on that serving line. Doing a great job. She takes Michigan State out of system. So you see right there, Brooke Cranda is not able to help out with the middle.
One-handed set and the kill for Garvely.
Huge for Rachel Menarek, too, to get that ball up in the air to find her friend, that former or fellow senior middle blocker, hitting high numbers, too, over 400 for the season.
Michigan State, the best serving team in the Big Ten Conference, coming in 12th in the nation in aces per set. That doesn't tell the whole story, but they are very difficult to deal with from that back line. Whistle on a net violation on the Spartans.
Well, the serving game is going to be real important for both sides of the net, taking them out of system so they can identify early where they need to put a double block.
Allie Franti, the senior out of Illinois, back to serve for Penn State. Bailey at the 10-foot line. Simone Lee cross court. Saw the opening, took advantage.
Wow, that was huge. You saw her whole body open up to the outside court. Here you see big transition play by Simone Lee and really really showing her stuff, thumb up to thumb down to get that hard angle.
Long on the service error from Franti. You get a look at the two of the best blockers in the Big Ten Conference, and Haley Washington and Alyssa Garvelink.
Well, Alyssa Garveling's obviously very proud right there, showing her stuff. But reason being, I mean, she's getting it done in the front row.
Garvelink, 102 blocks on the season. Washington, 114. You see that the only active Big Ten player with 1,000 kills and 500 blocks, just the 7th player in Penn State history to reach those two marks. With the swing, and that's what she does so well in that 6-2.
Well, the setter kill, and that's pretty fun for her, I'm sure, and she's been working on it all season long in that 6-2, but from Brianna Weiskircher, just putting in that sweet spot for her so she can find that seam and put the ball down.
Dieterich has been in double figures in kills twice this season, and here's that deceptive serve from Haley Washington.
And this is kind of what I want to talk about, especially for Penn State scouting a team like Michigan State and their serving routes. So she's going to be super aggressive from that back line, but she's identifying who she needs to go after to disrupt their servicing pattern.
Goes after Autumn Bailey, and Michigan State is out of system. With the swing, but a net violation on Penn State. And we are tied at 6 apiece here in set 1.
And we'll get some of these net calls because there might be a little impatient up there. They have to wait a little longer, especially for somebody like Autumn Bailey who's got some hang time.
Dieterich with the off-speed and a nice side out by Penn State with Tolliver in that tough topspin jump serve.
That was really important for them to get out of that rotation. They know Tolliver is dangerous and lethal on that back line. So smart play by Abby Dieterich, just mixing up her shots.
Bump set goes over to Lee. The swing out of play. Was there a touch? There was not, and it's a point to Penn State.
When she's trying to hit the edges back there, trying to look for some high hands. Real important for Autumn Bailey as that outside hitter. When she's got double block in front of her, she's going to go after it.
Tompkins on the quick from Menarek.
And she's not going to get a lot of action up there unless it's a three-point pass. So that was a great pass, so they're able to run something right behind the setter.
You look at the numbers there, 12th in the nation. Bailey with 14 aces on the year. She's not in that group of 3 players in the top 5 in the Big Ten Conference in aces this season, but she can still take teams out of system. Good one-handed get there by Bailey in the back row. Penn State can't recover, and Michigan State taking advantage of an overpass.
And just being able to anticipate up at the net, hands up, ready to go for any of those overpass opportunities is huge.
He's back over after Cox couldn't dig the ball, and a solo stuff for Tompkins.
I like Tompkins up there right now, very energetic, just a one-on-one opportunity. Tori Burrell, look at her, she's going straight in. So you would say, oh, it's an easy block to get, but those hands are over, she's being patient, and what's really important is she's pressing all the way down.
Tough serving from the Spartans, and they open up a 2-point advantage.
And this is how runs start, from the serving line, getting it going. Autumn Bailey from the left side of the court going, picking on Simone Lee. And that's what they're going to do all night long. They're going to try to stress her in the back row so she's able to not swing as high and hard in the front.
4-0 run is ended because there she swung high and hard and got the kill.
Except for that play, Mike. So that one, she's going to get down. So rare that you see Simone Lee making a mistake twice in a row.
The 1100th kill of Simone Lee's career for Penn State. Tompkins again, and that's been a good connection so far for the Spartans.
I'm keeping my eye on Jamie Cox and Rivero. for Michigan State. She takes that ball out to her side and making sure it's perfect all the way through, and you see her celebrating in the end, and I'm sure her teammates give her some kudos for that.
And how about the ace now from Megan Tompkins? She is not part of that normal crew of service aces, and she gets her 6th of the season.
That's right. I'm looking through my notes, and I don't see her name for the aces, so she's bringing it.
Time out of play, and a good decision to let it go. So, Liz, when you're a target of serve receive, and especially when you're an outside hitter and you're expected to do so much, how do you deal with that as a team? Obviously, we saw Penn State try to let another player take the ball instead of Simone Lee, but how do you adjust?
Well, right now, Simone Lee has been the target pretty much all year, and she's not going to make as many mistakes in a row. She just needs to be able to bounce back. She's going to take herself out of serve receive, or the coaching staff will do it for her, but she's tough enough, and she's got a lot of grit where she's going to come back and make it better the next play. And that's the thing in volleyball. You want to better the ball.
Joust at the net, but then goes over and out of play off the Spartans.
It was a tough ball for Michigan State to hold on to. The setter's up nice and high and tight, but that middle's got to come and greet her with that one-handed set.
It'll be Weiskircher to serve. Clips off the net. Dietering with the lefty swing, just got it inside the line.
That's perfect, and that's what you can do with that setter up there on the right side of the court. We don't see it often in the Big Ten at all. We have a setter delivering a ball to another setter, and she's a lefty, so it makes it look real easy for her to clip that right back corner.
A nice swing from Cranda on the right side, and you saw Weiskircher hit the tape a couple of times. Michigan State happy to get her off the service line.
Definitely, and it slowed down that ball so they're able to attack it from a passing standpoint. But I like that cut shot by Cranda, and Penn State needs to work on their off-blocker defense so they're ready next time.
Washington using the block for the kill.
And it's only Washington's second kill right now, so they're going to work hard on the passing department to get her that ball and get those numbers up.
There's Washington again. Cox uses her body to keep that off the floor. They go back to Washington, and if she gets a second chance, usually she terminates.
That's right, for sure. And kudos to Abby Dietering, because trying to fake out the middle blocker right there. You see Jamie Cox taking it with the body shot. But Haley Washington, that ball was tight, too, and she reached hard for that.
Spartans again out of system. Joust at the net. It's easy one, won by Bailey. With the 15-14 lead, we've got a good one brewing here in East Lansing. Couple of players of the week in the Big Ten Conference reside with the Nittany Lions. Haley Washington offensively and defensively with the great stuffs against the Badgers. And then Kendall White, the libero for the Nittany Lions, making plays all over the floor.
She's approaching 300 digs for this season as a sophomore. And just right there, you can see how fun it is to play with somebody like that, to just keep the ball up the court.
You get a look at some of the numbers from last week, and the 500th career block for Washington. She's only going to add to that total. And a bright future for Kendall White, who's just a sophomore in that libero spot. Here's Washington again.
If they keep their passing right up to target, they're going to find Washington every time.
Feels like the team might have been listening to you, Liz. You said a moment ago they need to pass better to get the ball to Washington, and she's had 3 consecutive kills in the last few points.
And it's really not that hard to understand the game of volleyball right now. It is a serve and pass game, and these two teams have to really step it up in both areas to get their middles involved.
Bailey has stepped up in this, her senior season, leading the Spartans in kills and digs. Get a look at her last kill.
Well, they're picking on her in serve receive, but she took care of business there, coming on the inside set and swiping it off down the line.
Look at Michigan State hitting 450 in this first set. But yet, Penn State hanging right with the Spartans. Diving effort by Gorell, but that's outside the antenna, and a point to Michigan State.
Great serving by Michigan State and really isolating pin players for Penn State. You can see middle blockers, Megan Tompkins just releasing to go all the way out for Lee.
White with a good get, comes back over on Michigan State's side. They go to Tolliver. Lee with the tip. Dumped over by Weisskircher, and a great decision by one of the 2 Penn State centers.
You know, it really was. I was watching her because she's delivering the ball. They're digging up. They're trying to transition. They're giving opportunities. But Michigan State's tough up there. They're making some good plays. So way to go. Catch them off guard. Force them to think about a back row setter.
Good first contact, but then the stuff block, a solo block for Lee.
Oh, that was huge. She just took one step over to her left. She identified who her hitter was, and really important for her to do that before the ball crosses the plane to the net. You watch her right here. She's noticing who her hitter is. It's a back row attack.
Just long of the line. Almost was going to be a point off the defense by Penn State.
Crazy attack. Holly Tolliver does a nice job on the right side right there as a lefty. Something that she's been doing all season. She's getting a lot of kills from the backcourt.
Lee well long of the line that time, and a couple of points in a row for Penn State. Back-to-back points for Michigan State.
Well, we see in this rotation, they're stacked left for Penn State, so they do have 3 attackers. But Tori Gorell is in the middle front, so it's going to be interesting to see how they come out of this timeout.
Hi.
Volleyball on BTN is brought to you by Tachikaro. We've got the ball, you bring the game. And brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right. Back in East Lansing, Haley Washington, 4 kills on 8 swings so far. When Penn State is in system, they can get her the ball.
They got to be in system, but they've done a nice job this year kind of stressing the fact that they can lead her out of system as well. They have 2 great setters, so even if they get pulled off to the 10-foot line, they're going to try to find her.
Washington coming off an effort against Illinois where she hit 769 with 10 kills. There's the off speed from Lee. And Lee's been trying to find different ways to get the ball to find the floor. 3rd kill tonight for her.
Well, as an outside hitter, you're going to get some junk out there. So you're going to get some tight balls from the setter, maybe some sets on the 10-foot line. So it's up to you. You have to adjust to every set you get.
Put into the net on a service there. Just the 2nd of the match for Penn State. Liz, we talk about how experienced these 2 teams are, senior laden on both sides of the net, and when you get down to the end of these sets that are tight at 2018, sometimes 2020, you see those seniors that experience really come through and dictate things, and so what's going to be the difference here?
Well, that's why it's so exciting with these 2 teams. They're all about seniors. You see Heidi Thielen taking that big swing, and she's really stepped it up in the 2nd part of the season. But you have this whole group of Michigan State, some redshirt seniors, some normal seniors that have not beaten a Penn State team since I believe it was 2013. So really important for them on their home court to find a way to win.
Great save there by Dietering, but Penn State did not get it over.
Around the 5-foot line, so you've got to be scrappy. If you're up there blocking, turn in transition, find the ball as fast as you can, and you've got to get low to be able to put that ball up in the air so somebody can take a swing.
Dara over to Tolliver. Chasing it down was White, but she couldn't get to it. And it's a 3-point lead for Michigan State.
Real solid defense by Michigan State. Autumn Bailey, I'm watching her feet were solid and stopped when she delivered that ball. And Holly Tolliver, just a 2-step and up to swing hard. She's got a cannon of an arm, and Coach George has said how proud she is of her to really come strong, 6 rotations, and really giving her all for this team.
Spartans with the 3-point lead here in the 1st set, trying to take the 1-0 lead. Coming up next, we've got the Land of Lincoln battle on the volleyball court. Northwestern and Illinois continue our doubleheader right after we're done here. Big Ten volleyball presented by Tachikara right after the conclusion of our match. Liz, we talk about the seniors for these 2 teams. The expectations were so high for both of them coming in. Penn State, the #1 overall recruiting class when these seniors were freshmen. And then you go back to the 2014 class for Michigan State. They were the #6 class, both hoping to make some serious noise in the postseason this year.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because we talk a lot about how these recruiting classes are ranked. And I think that's all great because a lot of these high school athletes get the recognition. A lot of them are high school All-Americans, but it's a whole new ballgame when they enter into college. So high expectations for sure. I think they need to start off on a clean slate. They all have to earn their start and earn their role once they get into the college atmosphere. And let's face it, all these young women, they were all-stars. All of them were all-stars at one point. So they've got to battle it out during preseason to see who's going to shine through for the season altogether. But yes, high expectations, no doubt, both sides.
Franti fired up. She's been quiet so far tonight, but a key kill for Penn State, her 2nd.
Boy, that was key to get out of that rotation. Simone Lee came up big with a nice pass all the way to the net, stressing that middle attacker held it a little bit with Abby Dietering up there, so it gave Allie Franti a little bit of space to swing.
Spartans find Tolliver, and they're 2 points from taking the 1st.
How about a lefty being able to swing on both pins? And that's what Coach George had said to us, that they need to be able to execute on both pins tonight. And boy, they really are doing it in this 1st set.
Washington answers right back.
And this is the offensive power that both of these teams bring. And that's why they are ranked in the top 10 nationally, because how how do you defend against something like that? You see Autumn Bailey reaching up with one hand. That's not going to do it against a Haley Washington.
Washington herself leading the nation in hitting percentage. Penn State as a team hitting .350, best mark in the nation as well. They need to put together a run here to come back at the conclusion of the first set. Lenny Pearson to serve. Menard. Spartans cannot get it over, and it's down to a 1-point lead.
And this is what we've got. The last time they matched up, I believe there was a set that was 30-28. So they're gonna grind it out in these last couple points.
22-19 lead turns into a 23-22 lead. We'll be back with the end of the first.
.com/game time.
1-point lead in the first set for Michigan State. Abby Dietering doing it all here so far, setting and attacking for the Nittany Lions.
Well, she started off strong right away, adding a couple kills in there, but she's delivering great sets to her teammates, especially in these last couple points. She's really reaching high, using her 6-foot frame to deliver a nice ball, offensively and defensively for Abby Dietering.
Brings us to our State Farm State of Success, the two-setter system, 6-2 that Penn State runs. This is not the typical traditional Penn State offense that you see, but it has worked this year with only one loss for the Nittany Lions.
How about that one loss on the season, and they've got a big target on their back.
And out of the timeout, Pierce comes through with an ace to tie it.
Well, here's that serving pattern we were discussing earlier, taking them out of system, really stressing that serve receive back there for Michigan State. Tough serve.
See, the first set could dictate the course of this match. Penn State on a 4-1 run. Whistle on a net violation, and Michigan State will have set point upcoming.
And that was an unfortunate, pure error by Penn State, giving Michigan State a little edge right now on that serving line with Jamie Cox.
Penn State goes to Washington. Spartans keep it off the floor. Another chance, though. This out to Lee. Oliver to end the set. Bailey out of play, and White with a great decision.
It was, and her feet were stopped. She knew exactly where she was on the court. And what separates her as a great libero is that she's able to determine court awareness.
Spartans wanted it. They don't get the call, though, and wasn't a decision by the official. They knew that it was out.
Great gutsy play to take that big swing, though, by Autumn Bailey.
We're playing the extra points here in the first set. Dietering to swing again. Off the block, Michigan State will have another chance. Set point number 2.
Against a double block, too. Holly Tolliver not afraid to swing right into the block. Here you see Simone Lee reaching out, but her body position was not in line towards the center of the court at point of contact.
So Tolliver back to serve. The last 4 Michigan State points have been Tolliver kills. See if she can get it done from the service line. Bailey off speed. Weiskircher diving. This will be a free ball for Michigan State to end the first set. They go to Bailey. Weiskircher set it over to an open spot in the corner.
great job by Brianna Weiskircher. Gutsy play by a setter just to get rid of that ball. But look at that dig by Kendall White. As much as we say Holly Tolliver is doing on the other side, look at Penn State's defense and digging that ball up.
Tompkins can't put it over, and now Penn State will have their first chance at a set point.
And this is where the experience really comes through for a team like Penn State in these situations.
It'll be a timeout for Michigan State. 26-25 Penn State. This was a 22-19 lead for Michigan State. Looked like they were going to be on their way to a first set win, but Penn State finding a way to turn it around. And you think back to even last week against Wisconsin. They were down big in that second set, found a way to come back. Nia Reed was a big part of that turnaround, but a team that's #1 in the nation, they find a way to get it done in these kind of sets that go into extra points.
Well, I'd like to say that Penn State has been a little bit scrappy towards the end of this match, but the key thing is keeping the ball alive and giving their teammates an opportunity to swing and just kind of waiting around for the other team to make an error. Now, what's important to know is that Holly Tolliver has come around to the back court. So if they're going to find her, they're going to have to use her in a back row attack. And I'm not quite sure they want to do that with the defense that Penn State has right now.
Tonight, an all-new episode of Sports Light with Mike Hall returns. Mike sits down with Barry Alvarez, who breaks out a phenomenal Lou Holtz impersonation and explains his love for pitball. Don't miss it tonight at 11 Eastern on BTN.
That should be interesting.
Do you have an impersonation you want to do right now, Liz?
Actually, I don't, but I know we're going to talk about Halloween coming up.
A pretty spot-on likeness we'll see of one of the coaches in just a moment when we get to a look back on Halloween. But out of this timeout, Penn State 26-25, Spartans trying to even this up again. Remember, the third set between these two teams, the first time they met, back on October 13th, was a 30-28 decision in favor of Penn State. Spartans are out-hitting the Nittany Lions, the best hitting team in the nation. It all comes down to who can make the plays here in extra points in the first set. Tolliver, solo stuff, and Penn State comes back to win the first, thanks to the block from Simone Lee.
Well, she identified her attacker as Holly Tolliver in the backcourt, so they decided to go back row, which I don't blame them at all. She's been on fire all night long, but awesome job by Penn State of pulling that one out.
Volleyball teams in the Halloween spirit. As you get a look at the Spartans all dressed up by class, the seniors wearing some of the older apparel, and then you get a look at some of the good costumes. I gotta say, I believe that's Megan Tompkins in the phenomenal It costume. And how about Autumn Bailey stealing the shirt of Kathy George thanks to the help of her son to be able to get the spot-on Kathy George costume.
Oh, I love it. And I think that's what Kathy George wore the last time they played Penn State. So very clever. She gets points for that.
And we get a look at the side-by-side. It is the same shirt. Autumn Bailey pulling it off. That is spot on.
I love it. And that must have caused a huge ruckus in the gym when she showed up. I'm sure it was all good fun.
Still enjoying the remainders of the Halloween candy as we get set here for set 2. Penn State found a way to pull off the win in the first set despite being out-hit by the Spartans. Let's see how Michigan State responds here in set number 2.
Probably not a great way to start out for Penn State. Serving just a little wide for Brianna Weiskircher, who's really made some great progress in the serving department, serving aggressive in the last couple matches.
Washington took a bit off that swing, and that adds to her total 6 kills, hitting .417 on the match for Haley Washington. Tolliver with the hammer, but White was able to keep that one alive. In the end, though, Cranda puts it away. Still can't help but be surprised that Kendall White dug that ball.
And she had some momentum going from the last set, just making sure she's off her heels. And that's huge for all you defensive specialists, liberos out there watching. She makes sure she's balanced with her feet, but she's able to go forward.